Hey, Tamara Tamu here. So happy to be bringing you another episode of Unleashed Alchemy. Where on this channel, we talk about moving from programming into stepping into your sovereignty with complete confidence. Okay, so that you can experience the freedom and liberty that is natural to your soul. All right, so let's get into today's episode. So, we're going to talk about how deconstructing from programming reminds you of who you really are. Not the program version of you, but the liberated version of you. So let's just jump right into today's episode. So listen, as you make spirituality the backbone of your entire life, you make spirituality the backbone of everything that you do, you begin to appreciate who you are. You begin to appreciate yourself more. Where does this appreciation come from? It comes from you being able to know yourself more. You start to uncover the genius in you. You start to uncover the powerful genius that is in you that was buried by programming. Okay. Now, all of that sounds exciting to be able to know the genius in you. It just saying that, if you said that out loud, if you're watching this and you said right now, I am so glad that I know the genius in me, that the genius in me is ready to be expressed, that feels liberating. It does something to the inside of you. Just saying those words can produce a shift in you. Okay, but see, here's the kicker about your genius. Just because you appreciate that genius in you that is ready to be expressed, that you're ready to live by, doesn't mean everyone else will appreciate it. Now, that may sound like an elementary notion. You may be saying, well, I already know that. Well, let's dive deeper. So here's the kicker. The genius in you may be the part of you that is not only courageous to rock the boat, but that genius in you is also bold enough to tip the entire boat over. Okay? Let's go further. Now, this is not about being destructive, okay? You don't need any more of that because you experienced enough destruction by being attached to religion and allowing religion to completely take over your body and completely take over your identity. That was destruction in itself, okay? We don't need any more of that. That's not what we're talking about. The genius in you causes you to stand out. Now, you're not going to stand out. It's not necessarily because everyone likes you. And you're not standing out even because everyone just loves you so much. You stand out. Part of your genius is for you to stand out because you lovingly give advice that people need to hear, not the advice that people want. You are a truth teller. Again, this is not about being destructive. This is about allowing that genius to come out, to be expressed in its fullness, okay? You stand out because you do not walk in a straight line. It's not that you're trying to be different. It's not that you're trying to be disagreeable. It's not that you're trying to be this rebel. It's just not how you move. That is your soul identity stepping forward. You don't follow anyone. It's not that you don't want to. Your soul is just not designed to do that. Your genius will cause you to stand out because your imagination is big. So instead of you wondering, you have a vision. So instead of you wondering how this vision is going to happen, you just accept the vision as being realistic for you, even if people around you see otherwise, even if people around you are looking at your vision as being outlandish or unrealistic. So I want you to take a minute and just have a review of your life. Just go back through your life real quick, and you'll start to see at different points in your life where that genius you, that aspect of you was apparent. It was evident. And especially if you grew up in religious dogma and religious programming, 9 times out of 10, you were sent messages to tone it down, to not ask questions, to no, don't say that about this person, or don't say that that's an adult. You can't say that about that person. Programming in general, especially religion, caused you to literally bury your super being. What is your super being? Your genius. When you hear me say super being, I am talking about your genius. I am talking about the truest nature of your soul's truest expression. Okay? So, because you buried the super being, you lived in a way that was too quiet for you. And I said this before, I'm going to say this again. You never have referred to yourself as a rebel, but you've never been interested in anything that resembled a tradition or resembled a programming. And in fact, tradition felt like a death sentence. That's why, if you can relate to this, if you're anything like me, I can say for myself, I've always frowned at anything that was done the same. My question was always, well, why do we have to do it like this? Just because it was done this way, just because it was done this way 50 years ago and it's still done like this, why do we have to keep doing the same things the same way? But I allowed religious programming to bury that part of me. And now she is back in full force. And it always, even in church, even after service, after service, after service, after service, I could read the Bible all day long. But being in that existence felt like a death sentence. Felt like I was walking around in a coffin. Because it was misaligned with the truest expression of my soul. And I know you're watching this, you made it to 8 minutes and 32 seconds. Then this is hitting home for you. Keep watching. So now that you are surrendering to your liberated soul, your soul's true nature, your soul is dancing, celebrating because you've chosen to reclaim your freedom. You've chosen freedom for your spirit. You've chosen freedom for your life. Now you're feeling alive again. You're feeling vibrant. You're feeling more expression. There's more expression. There's more creativity that's coming about. So you may be asking, okay, what is my next step? Now that I know that I have been programmed for all this time, what's my next step? You may be asking yourself, well, how do I take my life to the next level? What do I do with this super being part of me? What do I do with my genius? What do I do with my genius to walk in it? How do I walk in this existence consistently? How do I channel that energy into my life? Well, I'm going to give you one thing. I'm going to give you one thing you can do. Actually, I'm going to give you a few things. So the first thing that you can do, I want you to look around, look in one area, just one area. That's all it takes is just looking at one area in your life where you know for sure that your genius, your super being has wanted to come out to be expressed, but programming is still operating in your nervous system. And it said, no, 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 no. You don't do that because you don't want to make anyone upset. Just be agreeable. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to have an opinion. No, you're okay. You don't want to sound too fussy or too pushy. Now, I'm going to give you an example of how this could show up in your life too. A lot of times when you're bearing who you are, when you're bearing your true genius, when you're bearing your true identity, a lot of times it shows up in you not being assertive about what you need emotionally in conversation. So it could be you simply telling someone, if you're having a conversation with someone, you go to make a point or you're in the middle of giving your view, your perspective, and someone jumps in and cuts you off. It could be just as you simply saying, well, wait a minute, I want to finish my point, instead of allowing that person to railroad your words. It could be just as simple as that. Now, on the inside, if you've done this before, if you allowed someone to cut you off in the past, that programming, you would have said, well, no, just, it doesn't matter. You can raise your point later. It doesn't matter. Just let the person talk. No, no, no. The super being says, no, I have a point. If that person thinks I'm being disagreeable, or if that person thinks I'm being too much, that is that person's issue, not mine. What I have to say is valid right now. So I'm going to let my genius say what my genius needs to say. And you can do that in a very loving way. See how this doesn't have to be, we're not talking about destruction here. So that was perfect example. Okay, I can give you many examples, but that's just one example. So I want you, again, look at one area in your life where you know your genius has wanted to come through and come out. But because of programming that is still operating in your system, you suppressed it. Do that first. The second thing, since I said I was going to give you two things, the second thing that you can do is that you can register. You can register for my Freedom Upgrade event. All right. I've called it's a Freedom Upgrade event. And then I've also called it Deconstructing Religion to Rediscovering Sovereignty. We talk about that. We are going to talk about that in that program. So here's the thing. It begins June 7th. We will meet for 6 sessions. Beginning June 7th, it'll be every other week on Saturdays. Okay. There's a reason why we're not doing 6 consecutive weeks, because you need time in between those weeks to integrate what you'll get, to integrate the transformation, because it's one thing to receive, but it's another thing to implement what you receive. Okay. I will teach you how to access your genius, how to allow your sovereign super being to be fully expressed after being covered and damn near erased by programming, so that you can experience, we're talking about soul freedom, spiritual freedom, but that also translates into your physical life as well. All right. So 2 things you can do. Again, look at one area in your life where you know your genius is being suppressed. And the next thing that you can do is sign up for my live event. Begins June 7th. The link to sign up and register will be in the description box of this video. All right. Until next time, be sovereign.